Hey, what's up, guys? John from Gleese Manufacturing here. I want to take a few minutes this morning just to show you one of these manifolds while I have it here, and some of the problems that people are having with this A-spec-ish Chinese-style manifold, Chinese-built manifold. These are really popular for their price range. They're obnoxiously cheap. But I just wanted to show you that oftentimes people will spend more money doing this style setup than if they would have just, spent basically double the cash on like a high-end manifold or just like a nicely fabbed manifold. This isn't just a plug for our stuff. I mean, this is it doesn't matter who you go with. There's a lot of great manifold builders, even just in the RX7 community, and it's a pretty cool batch of people who can hook you up. But yeah, I just wanted to show you some of this, some of what goes wrong with these. So right off the bat, for being thin wall tubing, these primaries are really big. They are way too big, actually, especially for a manifold that was running, like most of these are running like GT35s, Garrett setups, like smaller Garrett setups. And those primaries are huge, very unnecessary. You're losing spool and you're losing velocity inside the primaries. And even though the inlet of the, from the rotor housing is large, it doesn't mean that that's how much volume you need in your runners. So, this is an example of our flange where, yeah, it starts out huge, but then we neck it down to 1 5/8, which is our, good for 700 plus horsepower primary size, but also good enough to make, 300 horsepower, a really snappy, happy 300 horsepower. And, yeah, so that's how that goes. So those primaries are absolutely huge. Now keep in mind, this is Sked 40 pipe, so this is like over an 1/8 inch thick wall. Absolutely massive. Just the density of this is unreal. This is what these are made of. Just 065, your regular exhaust tubing, which is great for exhaust duty, and they work great for that. But when you've got something that that goes brown like this so quickly, it glows 24/7 and goes in and out of heat cycles, and it's just not realistic unless you make it out of Inconel or 321, and you can get away with thin wall stuff on that, and that's what race car teams do, but not at this price point. So that's the number one thing, which kind of leads us to this T4 flange. So they neck it down really tight. They just squish it down, and they're like, hey, we got to fit this massive pipe into this little baby T4 flange. So let's just make the biggest T4 flange ever. And that's kind of what they did, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't know about you, but I've never seen a turbo inlet that looks quite like that. This is our super sexy billet merge, and look at that. So it's not even just that. These are perfectly sized for like Borg-Warner, Garrett inlets. These perfectly gasket match the inlet of a turbo. Just basic stuff. We're making it. Why not make it really good? This is more of a generic style flange, which is still really, really, really close to the exact sizes of a Borg-Warner or Garrett style turbo. So you can just see how massive that flange is. And right here, you're missing out on so much ceiling space. For cars that already have a hard time keeping the seal between, the manifold and the turbo, you're starting with a disadvantage already. And what's happening is you're using a little baby rectangle's worth of flow here into the turbo inlet. And everything else on the outside is just pounding the backside of the turbo flange, like hitting a brick wall, well, a steel wall. And it's not good. It causes turbulence. It brings up EGTs. It causes sore spool. It's just another way that you're just immediately at a disadvantage. And, is that fine for maybe a street car that's running 300 to 350 horsepower? Yeah, probably. I mean, these are proven to work. So I'm not, trying to say that they don't, but it's just one of those things where it's just like compounding problems. And if you're getting away using one of these, that's great and that's awesome. That means that you're just enjoying your car. But this is just to be informative for other people. Another big thing is these come factory with provisions for M8 by 1.25 studs, and those are kind of more a T3 thing. I think they did it because these ports got so big, and you'd just be missing, have too little material right there if this one went to an M10, but these should be an M10 by 1.5. That is more of a proper T4 style that has the proper clamping force to keep these together. That's what every generic T4 flange is. Come on, baby. Yeah, you can kind of see the difference there. It looks minute on camera, but it is it's still 2 millimeters worth times 4. So that's another big thing. Will it work? Yeah, they clearly do work, but again, it's just at a bit of a disadvantage, and you've got cheap studs, and that's why a lot of these cars are blowing out gaskets. And almost every time, we see these almost every single week, whether in person or just online, but we often see that these blow out gaskets, so it's a problem. So let's talk about wastegate. And you know what? I forgot to grab a flashlight. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay. So a lot of people ask us why we don't sell a single wastegate style manifold. So they're just like, just merge them together, so easy. And well, you are somewhat right. This is why we choose to go true twin scroll. So twin scroll means that you've got your front and rear housing pushing out exhaust pulses at different times. So they separate them all the way up to the flange, and that's why this divider is here. And I know this is really common knowledge for people who know this, but for the people that don't, it enters the turbo completely separate, and it runs around the volute separate, and those exhaust pulses, those individual exhaust pulses, will be able to be as efficient as possible because they won't be colliding with each other. And while the colliding is still minute, people see big gains in spool by going twin scroll, and that's why it's very popular to be twin scroll right now. So what you're doing when you reroute these together is basically canceling a good part of the benefit of having a true twin scroll setup. So you're still letting these exhaust pulses hit, and you are bringing down spool and efficiency, and it's just another disadvantage. Now, it's really common to do this because it's the easiest way to reroute this into your downpipe, and that's totally fine. And again, is it a max power thing? Probably, but it's nice to have a snappy, responsive RX7, and modern day turbo setups on these RX7s are making absolutely ridiculous power down low. And this is where you're getting it. All these little things, plus, EFRs and the power of them. So, reroute it in. Not a huge deal, but kind of leads us to where most people have problems with these manifolds. So, this is like an 1 3/4 tube. Still absolutely massive. These, just way overkill for size. And you can see inside of here that they just cut a small 1.5 hole, and that's it. So all the way around is just dead space. So maybe this will be a better view. So it's just this little baby 1.5 hole, and then they just jam a huge tube on top of it. And that may not even be 1.5, that may be 1.25. But still, so this is a big one. You can call the rest of this nitpicking, but you can't call this nitpicking at all. This is where people have major boost control issues on this turbo. And it might be fine for their smaller turbo with modest boosts, but the second you get something bigger and you try to make max power, or you try to, make really low power or something like that, you have boost control issues. And that's why everybody's like, junky manifold boost creeps. And that is like the major disadvantage. This is what kills engines. This is what makes a car. I don't know if you guys have ridden with people where like their car is just always untuned, it over boosts, they haven't fixed it, you can't ever be wide open throttle in like a long gear, stuff like that. So that's a major problem. You can see that somebody, not this guy, this kit was done for this guy before he bought the car, but somebody's already added money on top of the price of the manifold to put a decent wastegate setup on it, instead of running that skanky, whatever 50 mil these come with. HKS knockoff junk. So that's the thing. This indeed was warped. And yes, this did come off a running car, but I still guarantee you that this was warped and not perfectly straight from the factory. And that puts a lot of stress on the studs and obviously opens up, room for leaks. So that's the thing. But what this mostly comes to is this manifold was able to be repaired. I could have straightened these flanges and gotten this guy back on the road right away. But this is the problem. So you can see that that's cracked most of the size of the primary. All in there. And so I don't have anything really nice around here to show you, but when you see pretty welds, and a lot of people are like, I don't want to spend money just on, somebody who makes nice welds and charges a lot of money for it. Well, it's not really that. When you guys see a really nice, beautiful weld, it means it's a good weld. It means that it's a strong weld. And a lot of people are like, it doesn't look good, but it'll stick. That's not true. It's not always true. So there's a lot of theory that goes behind this. It's not just about saying, hey, this is perfect. This is weld-porn quality weld. So the theory behind this is when you make a pass on something, you have shielding gas. And wherever that shielding gas isn't, it'll go purple and brilliant, beautiful colors. And those are okay. But once you get this HAZ zone, this heat-affected zone, and it goes kind of gray, and it's not, it's definitely been overheated. It wasn't sitting under shielding gas long enough. Then that's where cracks are going to develop. And you can see that happened right where you would expect it to happen. The top part of the weld, where it connects to this thin wall tube, and that's obviously what sucked up the most heat when you had a bunch of amps going into this to weld it to this half-inch thick flange. But up here in the HAZ zone, the heat affected zone, is where it ended up cracking. And that's really common on these. You just do not have the mechanical advantage that you do having like with thin wall pipe that you do with thick pipe. So yeah. So unfortunately, this manifold is garbage. That's I could repair that, but it would break again right away. That would making repairs to a part of a manifold like this that's critical. This sees the brunt of the heat right here. That's where it's coming out. Just not going to happen. So this guy is going to have to make a decision on what he wants to do. Maybe that's buy another one of these manifolds, or maybe that's buy something more high end. And yeah, so I just encourage you guys to take these facts and think about them when you're making decisions on this stuff. And if you guys need anything, if you guys need somebody to look at a manifold as unbiased as possible, I can easily, fix you guys up, get you back on the road. And it doesn't mean selling you anything. It just means getting you back on the, just getting you back in your car. And that's what we're passionate about. It's not just, we're enthusiasts. That's why we're making RX7 manifolds. It's not because, it's a business thing, yes. But, we started into this because this is what we do. This is our joy and our passion. So yeah, send your junk on over into Canada, and we'll fix you up real good. So anyways, this kind of went long, but if you guys have questions, give me a shout. Thanks.